Welcome back, bookworms. 13 Reasons Why by J. Asher is a book aimed for young adults, and as much as I agree with that categorization, I also think it's a very important book to be read also by adults who deal with teenagers on a regular basis, such as teachers and parents. This is because this is a book about bullying and suicide among teenagers, and about how sad and lonely their worlds can be, something that I think adults tend to forget. The book's protagonist is Clay, a pretty average teenager, who one day receives a strange package in the mail. In the package there are tapes and a map. As he listens to those tapes, he hears the voice of Hannah Baker, a girl who used to be in his class and who killed herself not too long ago. On those tapes, Hannah tells her story from the moment she moved to the new school and the events that lead her to decide to take her own life. As the title suggests, she brings up 13 reasons for that decision, and as can be expected, there are quite a few people to be blamed. Let's start with the more obvious basic layer of the book. It's pretty interesting. It's written in many flashbacks, but we see it from a different kind of point of view. It's Hannah's story, but we see it through Clay's eyes. We also know the ending. She dies at the end, but we constantly want to know why, which adds another layer of mystery to it. Like Clay, we wonder, why did he get the tapes? Is he also to blame for Hannah's suicide? Clay himself wonders that and mentioned that he barely knew Hannah. Now let's get to the actual point of this book. What could make an average, beautiful teenage girl to commit suicide? Now obviously this is not a story about this particular girl. This is about a situation which happens all around the world all the time. Bullying, which causes people to kill themselves. Now what I loved about this book is that it's realistic in its portrayal of not only the kind of bullying Hannah experiences, but also in the way it makes her feel and how little by little it crushes her entire world. You see, I often feel as if we as adults have forgotten just how fragile the world of teenagers is. Bullying and insults that today perhaps will not bother you at all could have completely crushed every little bit of self-esteem you might have had in high school and would have made you feel completely unloved. If you look at each reason for Hannah's suicide as a separate case, they will not look as a good enough reason for one to commit suicide. Furthermore, I'm guaranteeing you that most ideas that you will have while reading the book regarding any further reasons will prove to be false. I was positive that at the end of the book, there is going to be something terrible, something horrible that will throw her over the edge. And that thing never came, but that's the whole point. Every reason in itself might look like something little, some teenage mischief, harmless thing that adults will say about, oh, just ignore them, or, you know, boys will be boys. But in reality, that kind of bullying is just as damaging as the big bullying that you usually read about in books, which is that's another point that the book makes. That everything we do and everything we say have consequences. Even if it's just a little rumor. If you only called that girl ugly once, if you only grabbed her ass for one little second, that's still bullying, and the last example is still sexual harassment. Bullying should not be ignored and should never be belittled. Someone who says out loud that they're thinking of committing suicide is not just looking for attention. They should be taken seriously and should be treated accordingly. Plus, we can never know what's going on in the mind of the person we've just insulted. Sure, you only called her a cow. What's the big deal, right? It's not like you punched her in the face or took her lunch money for a month. I mean, those are the real kind of bullying, right? Well, what if that girl you just insulted has been struggling with her weight her entire life? And the boy she likes is making fun of her and calling her a tubbo, and her own mother is commenting on her big belly. What then? For her, this just might be the last straw. And even if it's not, it doesn't matter. Calling someone names is not cool. Plus, someone who calls someone else in a mean name or do something that may be considered as little bullying and sees that it's okay and he's being left unpunished will have absolutely no problem to reach a higher level of bullying next time. Not to mention that we have absolutely no right of determining that that's not real bullying or that that's not a good enough reason to commit suicide. I mean, that's insane. People may have killed themselves over reasons that don't make sense to you, but you have absolutely no right, and it's not your place to decide that that wasn't a good enough reason. Obviously, for them it was. So read this book and learn from it, because another great advantage of this book is that it gives you great guidelines to how to recognize the signs for depression and suicide. Obviously, not every person who is considering suicide will act the exact same way, but you know what? Even if just one person will be saved and will get the help he or she needs because of this book, then this book has done its job. And if you read this book and the character of Hannah reminds you of something, if things look a little familiar, maybe you know someone who needs help. And everyone can help, whether it's by simply saying that you care about them and you want to know what's bothering them, or by getting them some more serious help like suicide hotlines and psychiatrists. And I'm pretty sure you can easily find one in your area. And if you're an adult, look at the teenagers around you. You know what? Even if you're not an adult, if you're a teenager, look at people at your school, at your area. Maybe you will be able, due to this book, to spot the bullied person and help them, or spot a bully and stop them. Remember, there is always a better way out. There is always a solution. And even if it doesn't seem that way, there will always be people who know what you're going through, will be able to listen to you without judging you and to help you. So I wish you all a great optimistic day filled with nice things that reminds you just how awesome you are. So I will see you in the next video, because I'm not going anywhere, and I hope you won't too. I'll see you next time.